At that point in time, when people were waiting up to a year for an NCT, did it ever cross their mind to get rid of this stupid rule where we're only going to give you 4 months NCT if you come in at the wrong time? It should be a year from the date of test. Today is our second podcast. Last week we talked about neurodivergence in the car community.
Yeah.
But there's a few issues we want to get to, Diego, isn't there?
Yeah. Actually, it's for NCTS.
Service.
Yeah.
So we're going to be talking about the NCT today. And we've identified a few problems with the NCT that I'm sure a lot of people will identify with.
Yeah.
We've done a little bit of homework. And let's get some stuff off our chest, Diego.
Yeah, please. Let's go.
I think you want to go first, don't you? I know it.
Well, just a little disclaimer. This is just like facts and our opinions. And we did some research. We did our homework. And what we're going to expose here is how, not misleading, but what would be the word for that?
Well, there's a few issues. There's one main issue that I want to get to.
Yeah.
I'll kick us off with that if you want.
Yeah, please. Yeah, sure. Be my guest.
So I NCT'd a car last week, and when I got my cert, I realized that I only had 4 months test on it. And
But how long you would do?
well, I was expecting a year from the date of test. I thought that's the way it worked.
Oh, okay. Yeah, no.
Now, it's, I suppose, a little bit embarrassing on my behalf because I've been NCT in cars for 25 years and I didn't know what the rules were. But apparently, it's not, you don't get your NCT, you don't get a year from the date of your NCT. There's a fixed date every year, and it's the date of first registration of the car, and that's when your NCT is due every year. So if you didn't know that, that's the rules.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense. So let's say if we put a car off the road for just like maintenance or like my case, my MR2, I had like a year to build my car, right? So my NCT was due in 2024. I didn't do that. And then I did this year.
Yeah.
And I got the full year.
Right.
But again, you were saying like the day the car was registered.
Yeah, so if your MR2 was off the road for a few years, and let's say your date of manufacture was in February, if you tested it in February, you would get a full year. If you tested it in November.
But that doesn't make any sense because I will need to pay it again. I'll have like what, 3 months NCT?
Well, that's my problem with it.
No, come on. So, okay, so that doesn't mean that your car is not like roadworthy for 1 year? It's just roadworthy for 3 months?
Yes, that's the policy. Now, I have a theory. About this, Diego.
That is so wrong, man.
I have a theory. So I think, obviously, the NCT, the company that runs the NCT are called A+ Limited. I believe they're a Spanish company.
Spanish company, yeah.
And they won a 10-year contract, and it's been renewed, I think, in 2019 for another 10 years. So it's a 10-year contract to NCT all the cars in the country.
Okay.
And as such, they're kind of running a monopoly because everybody who drives a car has to have their car NCT'd, and there's only one game in town, that's the National Car Testing Service. So they're in a privileged position of they're guaranteed to make money.
Oh, yeah.
But I feel like there's a little bit of a conflict of interest there because on the one hand, you have a company that wants to make profits and they're guaranteed the profits. But on the other hand, they want to increase profits. So how do you do that if you're the NCT? There's only so many cars on the road.
True.
So my theory is it's a very convenient policy for them to have where everybody's car is technically due on a fixed date every year. I feel like they don't make that widely known. No. And then people will go in, they might get delayed, or the delay might be through the NCT themselves, but they eventually NCT their car and they find that they don't have a full year, meaning they're going to have to be back before the year is up. Now, that is a clever way for the NCT, in my opinion, to increase revenues when they have a fixed number of cars going through.
Oh, no, definitely. And like the price now, it's a little bit different now because I remember the first NCT 2 years ago was like what, 50, 45?
I think it was 50 or 55, and now it's gone up to 60, and 60. The retest was 27 or something like that. Now it's gone up to 40.
Yeah, almost double the price.
It's a lot. It's a big increase, especially on the retest.
Okay, let's not try to do the good cop, bad cop, but I 100% sure this is a money racket, you know, because my car failed because first the license plate was not what's it called? It's
It has to be a certain typeface.
whatever, or just like the letters needs to follow that kind of specific
Yeah, the
font,
template.
the template. Okay, that's fine, but in my opinion, the NCT is testing for
Road
road
safety.
safety, right? You can definitely read that license plate. So that would be like the Garda kind of business.
That's the guard's problem. I think if your reg plate, the problem with having a reg plate that isn't legible will say maybe there's an issue with going through toll booths. Maybe it's an incident with a
I
car
agree.
and somebody can't get the reg plate. I actually thought I saw an article the other day, something about the guards not being able to issue fixed notices to people who have illegal number plates. So I ordered mine straight away. I'm only joking. Only joking.
No, but like again, I know that they have this new system. It's called ANPR or something like that.
Right, I'm not familiar
That
with that.
read the
Oh, that thing. Yes, yes.
yeah, that reads the license plate.
Automatic number plate recognition system.
Okay, so that's the acronym. Okay, cool. And if reads, what's the matter, right? So
Well, look, it's just not an issue for road safety. So
yeah,
my opinion would be that the NCT should be testing for road safety, like the
Yeah.
critical issues. Like we're talking tires, obviously, steering, suspension, and maybe a few other things. But I mean, having all these extra things that giving the NCT a reason to fail them and bring them back
yeah,
is, you know, it's nice for the NCT, but in my opinion, again, I think it would be better to concentrate on those safety critical issues and maybe check for tires twice a year. I mean, that if road safety is the goal here,
True.
I think you could really make the system better in terms of road safety and value for money for customers, as opposed to having something that the NCT are happy to see, like being able to fail people on any number of things which aren't safety critical.
yeah. And one of those things, like for us, you know, who owns like those different cars, you know, like Mazdas, MX-5s, MR2s, you know, your Citroens and all those, and of course the Sarah.
Yeah.
I've realized that when they got your car into their elevator, they kind of poke just to see if they can find like rust or anything like that. And sometimes they poke a hole on the.
Now, I'm going to play devil's advocate for the NCT. If they do stick a screwdriver through, then it was rusty. Then again, the second last time I NCT that Mazda, I was failed on rust on the rear subframe, and I knew there wasn't any. I mean, there was a little bit of surface rust, but there was no. And I asked him, "I'm sorry, but I'm pretty sure there is none. Could you please show me where that is?" And he said, "Oh well, I wasn't going to spend all day poking around with a screwdriver."
He said that.
He said that, yeah. And now, look, I think once they print out the NCT cert, they're very reluctant to go back when you call them out on something.
Oh yeah,
You
big
know?
time, big time. And there was a case I was waiting for my car to be like NCT'd, and there was this this guy, senior, kind of like, you know, late 60s, 70s, and the car failed on CT, and the guy was saying, "Oh, you need to do this, 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 and that," and the guy said, "Okay, but what do I need to do to fix it? You know, like where is the problem? Oh, you need to check with your mechanic. Check with your mechanic."
Well, I'm pretty sure they have to stipulate in the actual certificate why they couldn't pass it.
Yeah, but I think like one thing is I'm pretty sure they are not reading their manuals, man. Because okay, I took my car to test for emissions, right? Not just for emissions, but it failed on emissions.
So the retest, yeah.
So I had to retest twice. First time, okay, fine, I didn't know what was it, and then okay, I did some adjustments on the ECU, fine, let's go again, and then I was paying attention what they are doing. They are revving the car from 2,500 to 3,500, or from idle to 2,500, something like that. And what kind of control is that? What kind of
Well,
test
well,
is
they
that?
say low idle and high idle. So low idle is the actual idle.
Yeah.
But then I don't know if you ever sat in your car in the driveway, just kind of with your foot on the accelerator, keeping it at a constant 2,500 RPM. That's not an idle,
No,
and it's not under load.
exactly. And how the hell are you going to test a car with no load? You know,
Yeah.
you're not. That's impossible. You're not gonna like be idling your car all the way to like 2,500, 2,800 RPMs just to see. It's not an actual, way to test your emissions. You need to have a load.
Yeah.
You know, maybe on a dyno. I don't know.
And I suppose you could also make the argument that, again, we're not talking about a safety critical issue. Now, I don't think that we should just allow any old car on the road that's blowing smoke out the rear, but like when they're...
Okay, yeah.
But I mean, like if we're talking like, fractions of a outside of the parameters, it's not a road safety issue whatsoever.
Of
In my
course
opinion,
not.
it's another kind of revenue raising issue.
It's all about revenue, in my
It
opinion.
is all about revenue. And look, they're a private company, and that...
Oh yeah, they need to get like profit.
Well, look, there's an argument here as well about should the NCT be run by the government? Now, look, no matter who it's run by, public, private, you're always going to have, incidents of corruption or problems or mistakes or whatever. It's just human nature. But, when you have a private company, they really do only care about one aspect. That's like, keeping the contract and making money and increasing the money, because they're a multinational. They probably have, what would you call it, shareholders or whatever. So, and we do need to talk kind of about the safety versus revenue collection side of it, because...
Yeah, I'm pretty sure like they are just using this, oh no, your car needs to be like, safe and sound or whatever, but they're not paying attention on a lot of other things. I keep seeing these videos where people like, I just failed NCT because of this, and then the mechanic is like, no, it's absolutely fine. And then he took the car to another testing center and the car like passed.
Now, do you know what? That reminds me. When I was kind of looking online, just doing a little bit of research on this, you come across so many anecdotes from people who, I mean, I'm not even going to bring those in here because fair enough, my own experiences, but like you could pick, hundreds of different people saying this happened, that happened.
Yeah.
And look, we know they're probably true in a lot of cases because we both probably, have our own stories and know people who have had these experiences as well. But like, if we just keep it to the facts for today, I suppose, and not bring that in, or else it really would be a pile-on, wouldn't it?
Jesus, all the time. Yeah. And this kind of thing, like, because I took my wife's car to do for the NCT, and it failed on the headlight alignment. And that's weird. And I asked the guy, can you show me? And the guy said, sure. And I went there and I saw that device that, when you shine the line on it. I swear to God, man, it was like this out, like...
Really?
Yeah, and he failed.
Well, there's another issue there about calibration.
Yes.
And
I even asked the guy, is this calibrated? Oh yeah, we calibrate it every week or every day.
Well, who's NCTing the NCT though?
Oh, that's...
Because do you remember,
That's a great question.
Was it about 4 or 5 years ago, all the scissors lifts in there were developing cracks, or there was like 70 or 80 ramps across the country that were... And this caused a huge backlog, added to COVID.
Hold on. What ramps? The NCT ramps?
The NCT ramps. They used, obviously, they fitted out the entire country in the same the same ramps, same company or whatever. But yeah, they found hairline fractures in all these ramps, so they had to replace them all, presumably, which caused a big backlog. But it does kind of make you think about, like, is the RSA kind of really on their case about ensuring that all these calibrations and all the equipment is up to scratch? Because if they're failing people, and look, I know it's not the end of the world if you have to go back and test your car again, but when you multiply that over the whole country, I think a lot of people are kind of going to be thinking, well, yeah, that is a good question. Is someone making sure that their machines for the emissions, for the headlights, are all calibrated at all times?
Who is auditing NCT?
Well, the RSA is in charge of the NCT. That's the government body, the Road Safety Authority, and they are the ones who award the contract of the NCT to the companies that tender for it. So the RSA, I suppose you could say that they do have a vested interest in defending the NCT, because any sort of scandal got to do with the NCT is going to reflect badly on the RSA by extension.
Yeah.
Now, I must say, actually, I did send a letter, an email to the NCT and to the RSA. I only sent it a few days ago, and I haven't really given them enough time to answer the questions and get back to us. And I am keeping that in mind. When they eventually get back, we will cover it in the next episode. Whatever they say, they might have had a chance to have a look at this podcast. They might have a bit to say about it. So in fairness, we will air their side of the story as well.
Yeah, no, I agree. And you're saying about like calibration and who's NCT the NCT, right? Because when you go to their website, it's just even a suggestion to them. Add your logs, like download our recent calibration, our recent machine calibration, so we can, like, to be clear, to be like crystal clear that we are following the laws. Our machines, they are all calibrated, because we are going there, and whatever they say, we take for granted, like.
I suppose they would say in response that if, let's say, the headlight alignment equipment was not calibrated properly, that everybody coming in would be failing, and therefore they'd flag the issue straight away. So,
but again,
but look, it's about trust as well, because at the end of the day, this is a compulsory thing that people in Ireland need to do, and I think you need to be able to trust that it's not a money-making racket. It does leave a bad taste in your mouth when you walk away with a 4-month NCT when the car is perfect.
No, that doesn't make any sense. Like, you need to do your NCT again.
I have it booked in for next week again. And that'll be the second time I'll have done an NCT and a retest, and if there's any more retests, in the space of 37 days.
Yeah.
Or 32 days or something like that. But I mean, you know what I mean? It's to be straight back in there after you've gotten a clean bill of health on the car. Now, look, there is an issue as well that they don't always catch everything. And so having an NCT doesn't necessarily mean that your car is definitely safe.
Oh, no.
And in many cases, there have been court cases, the NCT have missed some critical things. And that's why, again, I would bring us back to the argument that we should really focus in on road safety and leave the superfluous kind of checks out of it.
Oh, but now you touch a really, really kind of point that, imagine like this. Let's say your car passed NCT, right? And something happens with your car in the middle of the road, and then you, wreck your car. But your car passed NCT, right? So who do you blame?
Well, I was only reading about some court cases like this the other night. I won't go into the details, but there was a fatal accident in one case. And actually, I remember what it was. The rear shocks of the car that crashed had passed an NCT, because the way it works is that if there's an imbalance between the shock absorbers, they'll fail it. But if both shock absorbers are equally worn and there's no leaks, they have no. They kind of have to pass it. But the deflection, the amount that it kind of goes up, I've seen some experts saying that if it's past a certain point, you could say that the shock absorber is too worn. But the theory was that this crash happened because she lost control and the rear suspension was a factor in it. So I think there was a court case, and I think the NCT is fighting it because they don't want to have to open themselves up to further lawsuits. Actually, in my research, I was interested to just find out how critical is the roadworthiness, easy for me to say, of the cars in terms of accidents. Like, how much of a factor are defective cars in accidents? And I think
that's true.
I think it's like something like 1 or 2% of accidents are caused due to something wrong with the car. Now, look, we definitely need to have an NCT. You can imagine if we didn't have a car test, people would just put off stuff like tires and really
Oh,
critical
yeah, no,
stuff.
definitely, yeah, I agree.
So we do definitely need to have that stuff. I just wanted to point out that these types of issues tend to play an extremely small role overall, because really what it's down to is driver attitudes, driver behavior, people's ability to drive. There's a lot of people that can't drive in this country.
Yeah.
But,
And they pass the driving test like that easy. That's a topic for another.
like when we're talking about road safety, right?
Yeah.
Back in the 1970s in Ireland, road deaths were somewhere around 650 road deaths per year. I think at the moment, I didn't look at the figures recently, but it's probably down to something like between 150 and 180 deaths per year. Now that's a huge decrease in road deaths, and I mean some of it's down to the motorway network. I'd say less of it is down to like the cars are better.
I agree.
I think the vast
Maybe
majority
the
of it.
roads are better.
The roads are better, but the vast majority of it is people were drink driving, and it was, I think it was legal. And I remember seeing a crazy ad where the guard is on the TV saying, "Now listen, if you've had like 6 or 7, maybe call it a day. If you can't, I swear to God, I'm not
6
imagining
or 7
this.
what, pints?
Pints. No, but listen to this. He said, and if you can't remember how many pints you've had, just have one more and then go home."
No
But
way.
that was the official advice. So obviously attitudes and drink driving and all this kind of stuff, that's the major thing. Really, when we get down to the NCT, we're splitting hairs. I mean, it might prevent a couple of deaths or a few deaths per year, but it's nothing like it was, and that is to be celebrated. But it kind of got me thinking as well. I think the NCT was introduced in the year 2000. And so in the year 1998, 1999, were road deaths like twice as much? No, they weren't anything like that. They were steadily coming down since the 70s.
Yeah, and again, they are pushing us to buy these new cars, electric cars. I don't think Ireland has these kind of infrastructure to get all of these new electric cars because of our electric grid or anything like that. But again, you were saying about those. Remember COVID times? I remember on 2022, there was a waiting list for NCT for like what, 6 months, 8 months,
Yeah, more.
right? More, even more. So if you had like a book for your, okay, so I have my NCT booked for 8 months, and you are already due. You have like past NCT or anything like that. And if the guards stop you and say, "No, you have an overdue NCT," oh no, but I have it booked. Like the backlog is too long. Like it's taking too long to get. Oh no, they're fine. So you're free to go.
Yeah, it's kind
That
of
doesn't
funny.
make any sense.
It's kind of funny the way they can just go, actually, yeah, for the moment you don't need an NCT. Look, I think the reason for that is because it's just a brute fact. The NCTS could not keep up with the backlog. And that brings me back to my original point. At that point in time, when people were waiting up to a year for an NCT, did it ever cross their mind to get rid of this stupid rule where we're only going to give you 4 months NCT if you come in at the wrong time? It should be a year from the date of test.
Yeah.
I mean, that could have cut down on the backlog, but even when,
100%.
in my opinion, safety was being jeopardized by this backlog, they don't seem to have considered the fact that maybe we should do everything we can to cut out unnecessary testing here.
And not only that, okay, so now you touch a point. Let's say that you have, you're gonna do your NCT again. Let's say that you fail your NCT. Hope not. Then the retest deadline. If you need to retest your car, let's say you fail on your suspension, and you have like 28 days.
That's right.
To fix it.
Well, you have to book it in 10 days prior as well. So, and I don't like booking it in until I have the car fixed. So really, it's a short window to fix your car.
Which is kind of difficult because you need to get your parts sorted. You need to get like whatever mechanic to squeeze you in. Oh, do you have like availability for? No, man, sorry, I only have like a slot here for 2 weeks. Or anything like that.
Mechanics, definitely. You go to a mechanic in Ireland and you could be waiting 2 or 3 weeks for a mechanic to get around.
Even a
here.
month.
Even, yeah, but I will again play devil's advocate. You can't leave it go too long after the original test because other things can go wrong. Someone could do, thousands of miles in the space of a month. So
True.
I think there does need to be a limit on it.
I agree. I
Yeah.
agree. Or even like, okay, leave it for the next year. We're gonna pass you on advisory or anything like that. If it's not critical, fine.
Oh, if it's not critical, well, that's my whole argument. If it's not critical, it shouldn't really be in the NCT. I mean,
Yeah.
I think there's definitely an emphasis on revenue collection. Now, obviously, the RSA and the NCTS are going to say that it's all about road safety.
Of course, yeah.
But I mean, if you cut out all that extra stuff that's not safety critical, kept it to tires, suspension, steering, like, really bad rust, whatever it happens to be, and even do a few, like check the tires multiple times per year, like some other system that truly is about road safety and it's not about the NCTS trying to increase revenues in a capped kind of market that they have.
I agree. And another one of those things that I keep thinking is, it should be your responsibility to keep your car.
But it is your responsibility.
I know, but there's a body saying like if you're right or wrong, if your car is or it's not. If something happens, you need to be like penalized. You need to be responsible for your acts. Oh, I want to do like, I don't know, I want to go with a 22-inch in a 1.0 car, whatever, whatever I do with my car, as long as, it's not dangerous for the other people.
Well, you raise a good
fine.
point, because really the NCT is just a snapshot in time of the car on that day.
Exactly, yeah.
So let's say you pass the NCT and your tires are brand new, but then you just got a loan of them and you put your old wheels back on afterwards. Like, you are responsible for the road safety of your car at all times. And the NCT isn't a substitute. It's not like a kind of an up-to-date engineer's report that you carry around with you the whole time. It's just a snapshot in time of that particular day. And
yeah, as long as, like, let's say that your car broke in the middle of the road or something happened, you are involved in an accident, and it was your fault because your car had like ball tires or your brake was not working or anything like that, then you need to be responsible. You need to pay the fees or whatever, or fines, even jail time. It depends.
well, I mean, like, we both probably have seen people who drive a car that's like, they probably don't have tax insurance, they don't care, they got the car for a few £100, the tires are bald. Now, you're playing with people's lives there, you know what I mean? You could kill somebody. So not only should you be responsible and you should be making sure the car is right yourself, but yeah, you should be absolutely, you should be culpable if something drastically wrong happens and, it was true negligence on your part. The NCT isn't a substitute for having responsibility.
Of course not. If you go like with your car with no NCT, ball tires, like those lab cars, you got the motorway and something happens, okay, so the guard will put in jail.
Yeah.
That's it. You need to be, held accountable for your mistakes or whatever.
Absolutely.
So the NCT should be nothing to do with that, in my opinion. You need to be responsible for everything you do.
Look, thankfully, instances like that are rare. I think people in general in Ireland do keep their cars to a high standard.
Of course, because we need to.
And here's why the whole issue kind of bugs me, though, is because I think the vast majority of people go out of their way to make sure that the car has good tires, everything is good on the car. They get stuff fixed when they need to. But sometimes it's a very expensive country to live in, and sometimes people are just trying to keep up, and it is quite an onerous kind of system, especially if you get your NCT and through no fault of your own, you didn't know that, or your car is NCT'd in February, which, by the way, isn't very kind of, it's not front and center on their website. You have to do a little bit of digging, and there's also lots of inconsistencies. Actually, I'll come back to that now. But we're trying to keep up the whole time, and the NCT is kind of snagging you on these little bits that really aren't safety critical. It's like we need to have a chat about that and kind of get the NCT back on track.
Yeah, I agree. And a lot of things, like when you go there and NCT, man, I don't know, it's such a tense environment. Everyone there just waiting for
your arse is clenched in the seat.
Yeah, every time when I go there, man, it's like, it seems to me like 60% of the times they failed because almost there, a couple of things you need to do. You know, I keep listening to that, and it's sad because you see those, you know, those senior people, you know, those old ladies. Oh, what's wrong with my car? Oh, you have like a bad rust. You need to, you know, check that. Poor lady. Come on.
She's not going to put the car up on axle stands and get underneath with the grinder. And
Exactly. You know, she again, like probably she needs that car to go to, you know, the GP, do her exams. You know, like.
But you know what? Actually, when we're talking about that, so they do release figures because they have figures for everything, and I'm sure they release figures that they want to release and
Of
keep
course,
stuff
yeah,
back.
yeah.
But like if they're failing, you know, 40, 50, 60% of the cars, I mean, we both know that that's not the percentage of cars that are unfit for the road.
True.
So, you know, and in light of the fact that we know that, you know, accidents are, you know, defects on the car account for very, very few accidents in that sense. I think it does show that a lot of it is kind of unnecessary, putting people under undue burden.
Oh man, I hate that thing. And one of those things that I think we need to think about it is like in 1 year time, right? So you're doing your NCT now.
Next week again.
Next week again. So you have 1 year.
Well, actually, I'm NCTing it early, 3 months early. So
you're gonna have.
I'm making a point of it. Seeing as I feel like I got screwed on the last one, I'm getting my 15-month NCT this time.
Do you think? Well, if you get 15 months of NCT, then your point is proven.
Because it won't be checked for another 15 months. Yeah.
Which doesn't make any sense.
Well, they've always said, I think this has happened to me a few times before, and they say they incorrectly explained that the NCT has been backdated. Yeah. And I was a little bit confused because I was like, how could you backdate the NCT? So if I'm driving around without an NCT and I get stopped by the guards and they say, you have no NCT, I can say, actually, I will be doing it in the future and it will be backdated. So technically you can't do me for no NCT. Yeah. No, of course that's not going to work. So I was there like, what does that mean, backdated? What they actually meant was if your car was due in February and you do it in October, we're backdating it. That's what they mean by backdating.
Ah, okay. Gotcha.
Yeah. But it's a little bit confusing. As I say, look, I'm into cars. I've been NCTing cars since the year 2000. Really, I should have known this. Do you know what? I probably did know it and just forgot about it or something, you know, yourself. But
yeah, but I think like the main thing, it's like just check your car for safety reasons, you know. License plates should be the guard responsibility.
Yes.
Right? What else? Window tinting, maybe?
No. Look, some people you see going around with, like, you know, the chameleon tint on the windows or very dark tint.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe at nighttime looking at the side windows or the back windows is difficult in limo tint, but generally speaking, even the highly reflective windscreen ones, they're nowhere near as, you know, they leave most of the light through. I don't really believe it's a safety risk unless really you limo tint the front window or something.
Oh,
the windscreen,
no, yeah,
you know.
I agree. Yeah, and only should focus on, you know, road safety, tires, brakes, suspension, emissions. I don't think only if like a bad smoke coming out of the car.
Unless the smoke is in the car, I really don't think it's a road safety issue.
Yeah, tax-wise, it's another thing that doesn't make any sense in my opinion, because if your car, I think that changed in 2008. Because if you compare 2007, 2008 car, it's with the same engine, same everything, it's completely different taxes.
Well, we're getting onto a different subject here now, but since you brought it up, I think that pre-2008, the tax rates are quite punitive. Like, you know, obviously, you know, anything with a big engine and you're paying through the nose. Yeah. After 2008, some cars are very, very cheap, and some cars got more expensive for their tax, but there's a lot of, I think it introduced a lot of discrepancies, especially with diesels.
Yes.
You know, because it's supposed to be a carbon tax, isn't it? A carbon-based system, but a lot of diesels are paying a lot less. But while we're talking about it, and before I forget, I just want to bring it back to this point again about revenues with the NCT, right? Because basically, like I said at the beginning of this podcast, NCT is compulsory. If you drive, you have to have an NCT. So they've won a contract.
Only if it's a brand new car, you have.
Well, you have a few years grace if it's a
Yeah,
brand new
yeah.
car, and then once it gets really old. But for the vast majority of the fleet,
Yeah.
you have to have an NCT. So the NCT, the A Plus Limited who run the NCT, they have a guaranteed revenue stream. They have a monopoly in the market. So that means that company is guaranteed to make money.
If it's a monopoly, of
Guaranteed
course.
to make money. And I think on behalf of the citizens of Ireland, there should be a little bit of oversight there that recognises, don't get greedy. I know you want to make money. I know you're a private company. I know that that's what private companies do. But we have to represent the taxpayer here and the people of Ireland who are trying to make ends meet. You have a guaranteed revenue, and this thing of trying to increase revenues by, failing people on this, failing people on that, and I'm not even going to go into the anecdotes of failing people on stuff and then they bring it back after doing nothing and it passes again.
Exactly.
But that goes on. It's happened to me.
Oh yeah.
So, like trying to increase revenue, that's what private companies do, and that's just the nature of things. But I think the government needs to step in and say, guys, you have this contract. It's a cakewalk. You're shooting fish in a barrel here. You're not going to take the piss. You're not going to take the piss here. And on those instances where they don't catch something that ends up causing an accident, look, they will be held to account for that. But I'm just making the point that if it's about road safety, let's focus in on the road safety and cut out all the extra stuff.
And brilliant. And what about I think UK, you can bring your car to any garage to do your MOT.
I believe the MOTs are run by licensed garages. So it might be a working garage and they run the test there as well.
Fine. If you have a garage here in Ireland, you can just submit your application to be a registered one to do your NCT. We don't need to rely just one company.
Yeah, I haven't really looked into the way that we do it here versus other systems around the world. I haven't really compared them or anything like that. I mean, just thinking about it, I was thinking, would that be more open to corruption, rather than the government kind of, having a look, the RSA, looking at this one company that operates the whole thing, having all these garages that you need to monitor. I don't know, is the answer.
Again, what do you need? You need a disc saying your car is NCT for 1 year or whatever, or your car is NCT compliant.
Well, I'll be honest with you, and maybe I shouldn't be thinking like this, but to me, somebody who keeps their car in roadworthy condition, whether or not there's an NCT, required, to me, the NCT and the insurance to a degree are just pieces of paper in the window that I have to have so I don't get in trouble from the guards.
Yes.
The one time I've ever tried to claim on my insurance, they eventually said they'd give me something, but they were going to jack up my premium, which in real terms makes it a short-term loan. I think if you're paying insurance, if you need to get it out, they shouldn't be jacking up your premium.
Of course.
Because that's what you have the insurance for. I mean, it was so bad what they were offering to me that I actually didn't claim on the insurance because I just thought I'll pay more. It'll cost me more if I claim on the insurance, which makes it a piece of paper in the window to me. And the NCT is kind of similar because I take responsibility for my own car myself. It's just something, when I go through a checkpoint, I need them to let me through. That's all it is.
That's it. Yes.
Pretty much.
Pretty much. And that piece of paper means jack nothing, in my opinion. Because, again, like you're saying, it's all about revenue. It's all about money. It's all about that. Because if we get a point to get, these garages to do your NCT, well, the corruption will be there. Yes, probably. But you will have no backlogs. You're not going to have any, how can I say? If it's a garage already, your car needs to fix this and fix that. And if your car is okay, then you just get a sticker, that's fine.
Look, I think no matter what system you run, there's going to be corruption, there's going to be mistakes,
100%.
human nature and all that. And so
course,
don't want to be too hard. And the other thing, I'll have to reiterate, I strongly suspect the NCT and the RSA are going to say, it is not about revenues. It is not about revenues.
Of course.
And look, of course they're going to say that. And
how dare you?
We await their statement and we will read it out. But like I've pointed out already, it's inevitable. You have a private company. The only thing that a private company is set up for is to make money and to increase revenues. They just want to increase revenues. So, I don't think it's that controversial of a thing for us to state as our opinion that we think it's a money-making racket. I'm sure there's people all around the country who are nodding their heads going, absolutely.
And I'm pretty sure even 70% of the whole population of this country doesn't know about that rule you just told me.
Well, maybe we should do a vox pop on it or something. I mean, maybe I'm out of sync. Maybe a lot of people do, but I actually took a look.
I don't think.
I took a look online at the data and the graphs, right? Because I was able to find a lot of data on this. So we can see the amount of, so we can see it represented visually in a graph. We can see the amount of cars tested per month with the NCT. And we can see that it definitely doesn't follow the type of curve you would see if everybody came in on their NCT due date, because the vast majority of cars are sold in January historically, and then it trails off significantly. It's almost like a straight line. And then in 2013, they introduced a new system whereby the reg plate comes out in July as well. So now you have a spike in July and it tails down. So you basically have two spikes and then a trail off. Now, when we look at the cars that are tested, it doesn't look the same as that. So I know for a fact, a lot of people are going in for whatever reason their NCT might have elapsed. They go in and a bit late and they realize, or they're just out of sync with their NCT due date. But yeah, I can tell just from looking at the graphs that there's definitely a mismatch there.
Oh, yeah.
And therefore, there has to be an awful lot of people who don't know about that rule.
Yeah, no, definitely. I think we should ask around and, show to NCT that, look, guys, you're not being, transparent.
Yeah.
Because their website's quite confusing.
I found a lot of discrepancies when I went on it. I'll tell you one actually, right? The NCT are going to come back to us and they're going to tell us, yeah, no, everybody knows you test your car on the date of first registration. But if you go into the NCT due date checker, where you enter in your reg plate and it tells you when your NCT is due, if your car currently has an NCT, it will tell you your NCT is due, and then it gives the next day after your NCT runs out, your current certificate, whether or not that's the date of first registration. If your car is out of NCT for years, because I've checked some of my cars that are off the road, it will do the same thing. It will tell you, let's say my car ran out of NCT on the 10th of the 10th, 2010. Your NCT due date will be the 11th of the 10th, 2025. They'll change the year accordingly, but it gives you the impression that your NCT runs out the day after your cert elapses.
Yeah.
And the only exception to that I found is when I put the Mazda's reg plate in, because I'm going in for an early retest, a voluntary early retest. It did give me, I don't know, did it actually say the date, but it told me that, yeah, this may change the due date of your NCT. But for the vast majority of people who are NCT in their cars, it kind of makes it seem as if your NCT runs out, your due date is the day that it runs out. But if those people go in, they may get a shock and find that you don't have a full year's NCT.
Yeah. Another flaw.
It's not clear. That's the point. It's not clear, and it's my opinion that it's intentional that it's not clear.
Of course. Jesus, I 100% agree with you, man.
Are we being fair here? Or are we just having a rant? I think we're definitely having a rant.
True, but because we are frustrated.
Yeah, it is frustrating.
It is, and I'm pretty sure a lot of you guys will, think of the same thing that we are here. But yeah, I think we are. We have loads of other things to talk about. Insurance. What else?
Well, I did.
The driving test.
The driving test.
Man. Yeah.
You want to talk about that? I'll be honest with you, I can barely even remember my driving test now at this stage. But you have issues with it.
I did, yes. Yeah, and I'm pretty sure a lot of people are facing the same thing, which I did. So.
Well, I have a few issues with the insurance industry, and
Me too.
I would love to continue on that. Maybe we should break that up and have that in another episode.
Oh no, sure, that's going to be our next episode. So stay tuned, of course. And yeah, I think still waiting forward for the NCT to reply that email I sent, and we will bring here as long as we get that answer back.
Absolutely.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay. So thank you again for your time. This is just again our opinion on everything. We did our homework, of course. Any final words?
Not really. I suppose we'll finish up now. And guys, thank you very much for watching today, and we will see you in the next one.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you so much, guys.